One of our viewers got in touch and wanted us to ask this question. Russ Brown wanted us to ask you if you really believe that those profiting from human trafficking will think, oh dear, I have to check your digital ID now. I can't carry on paying you £1.50 an hour to work in my sweatshop.
I'm absolutely convinced that amongst the reasons that people travel through France, which is a safe country, to come to the United Kingdom, amongst the reasons is because it's easier to work in our illegal economy than it is in other countries. And we have to deal with that.
Bosses who are prepared to hire people illegally are not asking them for their national insurance card. So what's the evidence? What makes you think they're suddenly going to ask them for a digital ID?
We need to be really clear. You must have ID, mandatory digital ID, in order to work, because we have to stop illegal working. If you look at any of the raids, we've massively increased the number of raids on working premises. It is absolutely clear that people are working illegally in numbers.
But why do you think that them having a digital ID, having to have a digital ID, would stop that problem, when right now people are meant to have a national insurance number and card, and if they're not asked for that, a boss is willing already to break the rules? What's the difference going to be?
Well, the difference is this is on point of starting, not a retrospective exercise as it now is. It is an automatic collection of the information by the government, so we know exactly who is working in our economy, and it will help us enforce the rules that are there. But there's no point people saying to me, why do we need it, when we all acknowledge there is a problem. People are working illegally in our economy. It is amongst the reasons that people want to come to the United Kingdom. We have to deal with that. I made a pledge that we would do whatever was necessary, use whatever tools were available to deal with illegal migration. I intend to do so.
It's amazing that it's now a problem. This whole Hegelian dialectic that goes on. It's like this old playbook. It's frustrating because most people don't see it. Like, all you got to do is go out of this bubble and you'll see that people are hook, line, sinker, whatever the government tells them. But like immigration was, diversity is our strength. Get them all in here, millions. And everyone's going, hey, there's too many immigrants. There's too many girls. No, diversity is our strength. And then all of a sudden, well, we've come up with a solution for the problem. Well, what's the problem? All these immigrants. Well, I thought that the immigrants were our strength, the diversity. Well, we've solved it for you. We now have a digital ID. To me, this is the COVID of 2025. This is the vaccine. This is the hill to, dig your heels into. Unfortunately, and this is me being a realist, that when the digital IDs come, they'll be instantly adopted. I know it sounds shitty. I mean, not by me. I'll hold out as long as I can. Obviously, I don't have a job per se, so I won't be like immediately. In order to get your check, you got to click this button. But up here in Kanadistan, like, the majority of people work for our socialist government, right? So if they want to get a paycheck, which they do, they'll just click the button. And then those who aren't working for the socialist government are on the dole of the socialist government. So they're on their pension or their old age pension. And they're not just going to say, oh, you don't want the digital ID? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, well, I guess we'll pay the old rails. Don't worry about it. We'll still get you your pension. No, it's going to be instantly. If you want your pension, you have to convert to a digital ID for your safety and convenience, obviously. And it'll be click, click, no matter what you tell people. Now, obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here. We all know this. There's nobody in this stream right now that's like, what? Digital IDs are bad? And we all know. But you could almost look at the Bitcoin adoption rate. Like, it's where is it? Somewhere between 2% and 4%. Like, some floating. It kind of goes. It was 1%, 1.5%. I think it's more now. But let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. 4%. You can tie waking up out of this control grid matrix to that Bitcoin adoption rate. It's really 4% of people that understand how bad this is, and 96% are a combination of don't care, won't care, and just give me my goddamn money. I don't care what payment rail it is. Just what button do I got to click to get my money? Click. They're going to click it. That's 96%. So it is an uphill battle, and whether it's going to it'll take a real strong country base of revolutionaries really to get this done. Now, Canada, I don't have any confidence in Canada. I don't have 1% confidence in Canada for a couple of reasons. It's been completely washed away with immigrants. So the voter base is just like, well, give me my free money. Click this button. Click. They'll click that button. And plus, it's so vast. It's hard to, unite at a certain area because it's so massive. I mean, it's like flying halfway across the world for most people to get to like the capital, Ottawa, from even where I am in Winnipeg. It's like a 36-hour drive, and then a plane ride's okay, but you take a plane to Ottawa, you start a revolution. Yeah, you may never come back. You'll be put in jail, or they'll turn your bank accounts off. It's just that crazy. E-money, any ostrich update. Well, as it moves forward, from what I've been watching, it's getting a little more like instead of this fast hardcore press on it, where they're like building hay bales, bringing in black fence, they've slowed it down to a boiling frog rate, where people are it's not moving fast enough for them to get angry. And I think they're just playing the waiting game because, these are what these people do. Intergenerational patience, you might say. We'll see. Well, that'll be an interesting one. When I go into the normies in the field, I call it, and the sentiment in my normie field is, what the hell do you give a shit about these goddamn birds for? Right? And I have to draw the correlation, between this small thing gets connected to this slightly bigger thing that gets connected to your slightly bigger thing. They only realize it when it hits home base. What if they deem your lovely dog a threat to some sort of virus and it has to get called? That's the only way these people see it. It's too far away. They can't, they don't know what the Hegelian dialectic is. They've never even heard of it. And why would they? Why would anyone be taught that unless they have some specific philosophy course maybe in university? They'd never really hear about it. So we'll see how that one plays out. I like to say the world is watching, but again, there's a lot of people that share that sentiment. And what the hell with these birds? Why do you care about these birds? Right? They don't connect. It's just like digital IDs. Like the temperature in the field in Winnipeg is, no one even cares about the digital. They're like, what do you care? To defend them for 1 second, to play the other field. Because what I've learned since COVID is that when I get fired up or passionate about something, that's when I think I'm being controlled. They've managed to switch the frequency to find what would affect me, and now there it is. Okay, we'll keep on that channel, and that'll get him fired up, right? So it's like, is this where I get brainwashed on this frequency? But with the digital IDs, they have no clue what it means down generations. Like the boomers that I talk to, they don't even know what's going on, right? And then B, they don't know the ramifications, the consequences of this to their offspring. Because a lot of them, in a failing society like we have now, a crumbling civilization, we have an inversion of the safety net. So historically, as civilizations build the old, sacrifice themselves for the young, right? They do everything they can to make sure that this succeeds. Now we see with the boomer culture, it's like, well, let's listen. You get those little babies vaccinations, you know, or else we're never talking to them again. You know, it's our runway. We got it's small, and we're gonna use it to as we don't care what happens. Like they'll burn down the house around them as long as they get their pension and their massive house. It just keeps on going up. I think the real bag holders will be boomers to a certain degree, because they are sitting on this real estate, and surprise, surprise, the younger generation can't buy it. It's just the real estate. There's always a buyer, but it probably won't be the next generation. Whether it'll be foreign money, who knows? There's someone that's going to buy it, but it'll slowly stop, and then they'll be stuck with this real estate that they got to offload for their runway. You know, they're living, you know, two people living in a 3,500 square foot house that they want to sell for 1.2 million to a kid who just graduated from university with a gender studies degree, looking for a job in the open market. Who wants to hire me? Nobody. Let's take a look at these charts. You might say there was a pulse. Over the weekend. Wasn't much, but I think we talked about this on Friday. Our best case scenario was to get up at the 200 moving average and maybe build this out. Now, think about how nauseatingly boring it'll be to build out here at 112 for the week. You know, like people are so sick to death of this price movement anyway. So if we were to sit here and just consolidate at 112, 114, oh my God, 110, we're done. 113, oh my God, 111, who cares? That's what we'll do. And then we'll build out the inverted head and shoulders. Now, if you want to get a little bit technical analysis, pedantic, there's a little bit of a hidden divergence. Normally I don't do this because it's hidden, which means, you know, probably it turns up the probabilities of consolidation. Hidden divergence isn't really like a severe bearish sign. It's more like par for the course, but it's not bullish, put it that way. We got some lower highs forming on the chart, and higher highs. Now, this most people think this is bullish. Well, hey, we're getting steam. Well, what it shows why it's, you know, hidden bearish divergence is that you see volume coming in, price going down. You know, that's not how it goes. And so when you play out like the MACD and the RSI into its oversold, like these are just oscillators, right? So if price is going down as we're rounding, you know, the top of the MACD or the RSI, well, it's going to go down. I mean, usually when it goes down, it takes the price with it. That doesn't mean it's going to, just means it has before and it might now. No, so if we were to see, like, this is what happens, you know, like Michael Saylor buys and the market tanks. If we can't get over, I will keep this for posterity's sakes. If we can't get over the 200 moving average, we'll likely get rejected and come back down to 109 just to retest. And bingo, bango, bongo, nothing happening. Like these aren't moves. These are like, now that we're in the law of large numbers, this is just inconsequential movement. Like you would see on a 5-minute chart, just some people, some degens do. I used to with currency, but currency trading is different. You have to be leveraged because we're talking about, you know, 1,000th of a pip. But that's just boring jargon talk. We got to get over the 200 moving average here just to be remotely bullish. Right now we're almost there, but we are getting rejected. Does someone say, does this disqualify the bear flag? Yeah, to a certain degree. Yeah, I mean, but these patterns aren't like 100%. The bear flag, just the probabilities are higher that will continue down because we are, in a downward trend fighting, So when you see a bear flag, it's because we are in a downward trend and then we get some support. And usually it's not enough support depending on where we are in the downward trend. Now, we've been going down, one might say, since Thursday, September 18th, which was, 10 days ago. So we've been in this pattern for 10 days. So, yeah, maybe this is the rounding. I actually thought it would play out because the numbers were adding so much to the support. Bruce Mai, Duke opened up the GEMINI on Saturday, and he was just a pro. I was more nervous than he was. It's like before we play, I go into my car and I warm up, and I was a little bit of a nervous wreck because I didn't want something traumatic to happen, because listen, sometimes I play a song that I've been playing for years, and if I sink out of my muscle memory, like if I actually start thinking of what the hell I'm doing, I'll screw it up, right? And when I screw up, I screw up big, right? Because it's like I don't really know how the song goes. It's all muscle memory. Like, so let's take Piano Man, a song I've done a million times. I don't really know that it's. See, now I'm thinking about it, I can't even play it. Like, I'll never forget this. But the turnaround and stuff, if I think about it, what is that? I'll screw it up. So there's all these things, and so for Duke, when he's first time in, there was a lot of people there, and he wasn't nervous. He wasn't. He's just like, yeah, no, this is good. This is fine, and he did a good job. So very, very proud moment for pianomattyb B as a dad. And if you see a smile at the end, that was the first time he realized, I think, that, whoa, wait a second, people think this is cool, right? Because he just plays, he did, back in the day, he'd come and play here, but there's no real applause, right? They're just, people saying, hey, good job, right? But to hear an applause is a different energy coming from, the crowd. So it maybe it changed him a little bit. Scotty Mo, morning, y'all. I come for the TA, stay for the civilization takeover, fight the power. We were just talking about you yesterday at dinner, Scotty Mo, because my brother-in-law was like, or my sister was like, oh, yeah, it's a cool Lamborghini shirt. And Duke's like, it's Loneliest Lamborghini, anti-jinxie. And I'm like, what's that? It's like, oh, this Scotty Mo, part of the community, actually made this for Duke. And they're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, that is pretty cool. Over on the ding dong. So thanks again there, Scotty Mo. And I'm like, oh, these hats, that's Scotty Mo made them. I'm like, oh, that's really, people just don't, I'm like, because like I don't hang around, and my family doesn't watch the stream. They may watch this by accident, so they don't really know what's going on. On the daily chart, we are getting hitting our head on the 50% moving, 50% Fibonacci. 50% Fibonacci daily, 200-day moving average on the 4. These numbers are lining up, but numbers line up like this when we're doing nothing, right? So when the market gets a massive influx of buy on the exchange, not OTC, but on the exchange, then we lose the rationale of the market and things like pump, right? And everyone will be, oh, well, the TA said this. Is not really. TA just follows support and resistance. They're good for scalping, But like, I remember early on in this channel, people would always be on my ass about only coins. It's like, why don't you do fart coin or blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's no, anyone doing TA on that is just yanking your chain, because these things are pumped by insiders. There's no TA. Oh, look at this fart coin just broke out of a head and shoulders pattern. If anything, it just has a pattern based on Bitcoin, right? They're all just functions of the Bitcoin market. And trying to do technical analysis on a only coin, even trading. I've been going over this concept of like, not people aren't going to like this, but like women, feminine energy and trading. Like there's a correlation. Like you think about the people that are trying to, understand the market. Why did it go up? Why did it go down? It's like someone who doesn't understand, why their relationship ended. Like, why'd she do this? Why'd she do that? It's completely irrational. She's not, that's what the market's like, right? Now, if you wanted to take a strong position, you would find an asset that has value, put everything you got into it and wait. That's where you win in the market is with your patience. Trying to scalp in and out. I harp on this a lot, but I mean, at the end of the day, when this channel's gone, I'll be able to sleep at night telling people not to trade, because I know through experience, it's a blackjack table. For every one winner, if there's 6 of you out there trading, 1 will win, 5 will lose. That's just how the casino works. It's a casino to take your money. So I just try to warn people, and the best thing you can do, just take that position in a hard asset, in this case, Bitcoin, and just wait. And then people will say, well, wait, what do you mean? It's only gone up like $100,000 since the bottom of the bear market. It's like, yeah, I know we want it to go up like 900,000, right? Maybe if it went up $900,000, like to $1 million, people would be like, I told you. But there's no bragging rights in $100,000 increase for some reason. It's weird. Although there is. If you missed it, it's a huge miss. But if you've been here since the bottom, it's like, 100K up. Like, imagine that. You ask any financial advisor at the in the field where I go every day to the squash club, $100,000 increase. It's unheard of. It just doesn't happen, right? But we're a different breed in the Bitcoin market. The volatility we were raised on is somehow diminished, but it's still 100,000 since the bottom. And so if you really think about the timing, like the cyclical nature of this market, in about a year, a little over a year, we will be arguably at the bottom of this cycle. It's hard to imagine, right? Because we're right now, we're just like, are we at the top or what the hell? We're at the top. We're basically in like the kill zone of Mount Everest, where it's like everything's dicey. You make one wrong move, you might pass out and never come back, or you might fall off the mountain. We're dicey. We're dicey at the top here, right? Now I don't think we've hit the summit. I don't think we're on our way down, but only time will tell. Nobody knows. Everyone that's like claiming that they knew the 2021 one, come on. So now we've done. I put this up before, but we really need a 30% historically. We need a 30% retracement from a top in order to really facilitate where we are in the market. Have we topped? We need to go down 30%. We still haven't. Even if we go wick to wick, which is it's 13%. That is nothing. A 13% dip from the top is nothing. We're still basically at the kill zone. We put your oxygen tanks on. You have to breathe this oxygen. The air is thin, but it can get a lot thinner and a lot higher. They say that last kill zone is the hardest part of the summit. And it's true. I think it was easier for all of us when, Bitcoin was down at 35K. We're just trudging along the mountain, mask off, eating, drinking, sleeping. And then all of a sudden the air gets thin. Like, what the hell is going on? So until we see a 30% downturn from a top, we're just ranging at the top, at the kill zone. So it's no big deal. We did put into this is I like this weekly channel weekly candle here, because the sellers did push us out of this channel of descension, and then we just nipped. We got our toes in there, and then boom, close the candle. That's good. That's a bullish sign to the market for the bots. I mean, not for anyone else, just the bots. That would be bullish for the bots. Their algorithms would switch bullish. And it kind of looks like a nice little, if we were to, let's say, I don't want to sit here for this week and do nothing. But if we were to sit here and do nothing in this small little range, it would be very significant of a local bottom, a turnaround. So just with the size of this wick, it's not unlike one of these blow off top-esque wicks, but it's like a blow off bottom. That's pretty damn bullish. So we'll see how that goes. Look, we're right at the 38.2. So see these numbers. The one thing I know now from music is that everything's numbers, right? This is why Fibonacci's always fascinated me, because it's so predictable with the Fibonacci. So we have the 200-day moving average giving us resistance on the 4-hour chart. On the daily chart, we got resistance from the 50 moving average. And then on the weekly chart, we got resistance here at the 38.2% fib. So all these fibs, in a normal market, we will just gravitate towards these numbers, and that's what we're doing. That's why it's so predictable. But that's also, I've gone down a dark road with the Fibonacci's. I've talked about this, the 23.6% adoption rate. When I look at, immigration rates, they're beyond that. So there's no stopping it, right? And then when I think about the digital ID, it doesn't have to. You don't have to have 50% of the people. Well, I would say in Canada, there's 80% agreement, because it's all government cucks here. This is for sure. Did the government say this is good for my safety and convenience? Yeah, okay, click. There's no pushback. E-money bring on October, yeah. Well, the thing about October is that it has to disappoint you right away. It has to, you're going to go up and you're going to buy October a drink on October 1st. You're like, hey, it's October. Can I buy a drink? And the October will be like, slap you in the face, right? It has to do that first. Now, will it? No, who knows? But, generally speaking, when people are on one side of the boat, it's got to correct. And I think a lot of people, like more than ever, maybe in history, are on this Q4 bullishness boat, which is a little bit scary. Like the way I would say the market would play out, and this isn't a fun prediction, but it would starve out Q4. And it would allow everyone to just be like, you know what? Okay, well, if it's not pumping here, I'm out for the cycle. And that's when it explodes. So I don't care, because I'm not, selling. If I had any Bitcoin, I wouldn't be selling any Bitcoin. But that's where I think that's max pain. Imagine that. Imagine how max pain that would be, that if the Q4 wasn't, like if we just maybe went up to, 125 again and then came down and 125 again, that would be so disappointing for a Q4 explosion that most people would just throw in the towel. And then when enough people throw in the towel, well, my friends, that's when the market pumps. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.